Hey, this is Diaries of a Holy Night, Chapter 3, The In-Between. I'm gonna clear my throat. The therapist snapped her fingers. Just like that? Yeah, Justin said. Just like the snap of your fingers is a moment in time so quick, it's hard to calculate. Our disappearances from this word were just as fast and in a way just as painless as a snap of your fingers. I appeared in a bright white circular room with 7 golden pedestals elevated from the floor. I was shocked to see that I was wearing a robe the same white color as the room over my clothes, and shocked again to see right next to me were the guys that also disappeared from the church wearing matching robes. I noticed that we were all eye level with each other on top of these pedestals, which is saying something because Chase Masters is like 6'6". In the middle of the room was a man wearing a half white, half gold robe on top of a leather jacket. That man had a covering over his left eye, and he was floating. He didn't approach any of us. He just spoke in a voice that completely enveloped me in a peaceful warmth. Odd as it was, none of us spoke, nor did I really want them to. The man's voice sounded simply incredible. He said, God has chosen you 7 children to restore peace to the world named In Between. You have all asked God to be tested, so here is your test. An angel of extraordinary beauty is going to be sacrificed to bring back to life the king of the demons named Death Mesh. Your mission is to save the Angel Hope. May God be with you more than he ever before. You'll need him. I slipped out of that world, and this time I found myself on the ground looking up into clear skies. I was in a clearing surrounded by woods. I remember immediately being bombarded by the sounds of explosions not too far away. I was confused when I saw that I had suddenly lost my glowing white robe and was back in my regular clothes. I got up to find huge moss-covered trees with massive branches stretching out for miles. Then I heard loud snores coming from the other side of a nearby log. I found Mike Prickles sprawled out asleep. His red hair puffed around his face like a dumb pillow. The reason I didn't like him was how he acted at the school towards me, since his family's rich. So let's just say I was glad he was asleep. His only redeeming quality was he really got the girl's attention with his baby blue eyes. I guess it didn't hurt that he was tall either. I used to be so jealous of Mike because I had such a hard time talking to girls. The sun was hot there, like the middle of summer. I remember the smell of honey and salt water in the air. I was certain it was usually a peaceful place. But then, boom! I heard those explosions again, close, just east of me. So I moved over to the edge of the clearing to see what I could. I recall not really believing what I saw. Even now, it kind of gives me the creeps. I saw a beach spread out for miles around. Here comes the crazy part. Filled with an army of humanoid demons. Their eyes were red as fire. Their teeth were made out of black stone, and they wore full-length black trench coats. They carried black scythes in both hands, which were almost indistinguishable from their bodies since they were the same color. They were fighting against hundreds of much smaller warriors. As I focused, I could see that the little warriors were actually little dog people. The dogs had on ancient-looking metal armor that glowed like a dying flashlight and fought medieval style with swords, shields, and bows. The dogs formed long lines, interconnecting their shields into a wall, and a few steps behind them were archers, sending huge amounts of arrows at the enemies. I thought to myself, how could it be possible for these 3 foot tall creatures to fight the far larger demons? I was scared stiff, but these dogs were fearless. Beyond that, many black ships lined the coast. They fired on the beach with what sounded like cannon type weaponry, which more often than not hit their own forces, shattering the demons to pieces. These weren't the same explosions from earlier, though. Too small. Boom! Another explosion called out from the forest now. A car-sized cannonball crashed right into the enemy armies. Thousands of demons fragmented into black oil and black sand where it landed, causing massive craters along the beach. When these cannonballs exploded, glowing light shards blasted all over the beach, much like fireworks seeking out demons to burn. A massive screech called out from across the battlefield. It resonated from a 15-foot tall demon charging into the front lines. It slammed into the doggy lines, splitting them apart. It carried a 20-foot scythe in its left hand, and with its right caught the next cannonball from the trees. The ball exploded, breaking its arm to black dust. I can hear its terrifying scream of pain even now, as if it had just happened. A second later, its hand regrew, and it was on the attack. With every swing that beast took, it knocked multiple dogs into the air with its massive power. Most died on contact, landing crumpled on the ground. Some died in the ocean, where an unusual amount of dorsal fins circled. I felt terrible for them, but I was so gripped with fear I could barely even move to help them or myself. One of the dogs was thrown so far into the air, it landed near me on the ground. It was so cute in its beautiful armor, which even covered its bushy tail, but very dead. They looked more like puppies in appearance, but had large dog legs and arms poking out of their armor. Looking at it made me think about my sister, and the pain started to well up inside of me for these poor animals. Squeals like someone had stepped on 1,000 dog tails brought my attention back to the beach. The doggies were retreating, and those demons were pouring into the woods after them. Some of them were coming in my direction. I turned to run, but stopped when I saw Mike still sleeping. I went over to him and shook him violently, but he refused to wake up. I gotta be honest, I did think about leaving him, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So I grabbed him up on my shoulder and carried him with me. I expected him to be heavy, but he felt as light as a school bag. I took off into the woods, and somehow it felt like I was running in less than regular gravity, which was great because I wanted to get out of there quick. Running along, I saw more of those little doggies march past us. They were armored like the doggies on the beach, but confusingly, their faces looked happy. It's like they didn't care about us at all, like they didn't care they were running into a slaughterhouse. I ended up tripping over a stump and decided to hide in a nearby cave. It was large and well lit by glowing green roots from the trees above it. I had time to catch my breath there. I dropped Mike on the ground, maybe a little too hard, but I didn't care. He woke up and became really confused. "Justin?" Mike questioned. "Where's the church? Where's our friends? Where's the blindfolded elder? Where are we?" "Shut up," Justin whispered as he covered Mike's mouth with his hands. "I don't know where we are. I don't know where the others are. And I don't know how we got here. All I know is that there are little dog soldiers fighting demons out there." Mike tried to take in the insanity Justin had just imparted to him. For the next couple of minutes, Justin tried to explain the situation as best as he could. Regardless, you could tell he was absolutely lost. He was afraid at first, but the fear faded into despair. "I'm so grounded," Mike exclaimed. "I had to be home right after the lock-in, and now I'm wherever this is. I'm incredibly behind in my studies. I just separated from my relationship with my girlfriend, and now this. On top of that, how does one save an angel? This is your fault." Justin tried to stifle his laughter before he spoke. Are you serious? We're about to be killed by demons, and you're worried about your homework? That's crazy. Think for a second. How could I do something like this? Mike looked at Justin with rage. Do you realize how crazy you sound? Dog warriors? Demon soldiers? I wouldn't put it past you since you're so sinful. Cursing, playing inappropriate video games, viewing adult videos. Soon it will be methamphetamines. Well, hold on, Justin said. That's quite a jump from video games to drugs. Plus, I don't have magic powers. And if I did, why would I use them to send us here? Mike started to cry during Justin's explanation, which he found hilarious. He decided to leave Mike alone so he could man up. Justin peeked outside of the cave to see if any of the demons were around. After feeling confident that none were around, he walked outside. This was the first time he got to assess the situation and tried to stop laughing at how Mike sounded like a mad baby. Justin took in the extravagant beauty of the woods he had missed earlier. The trees disappeared into the sky and their branches filled together into a canopy. The bark of the trees had a beautiful iridescent glow, giving the entire forest an astonishing green hue. One tree stood above the rest. At the top, something bright broke the uniformity of its leaves. He could make out a whole city carved into the giant trunk. Movement caught his attention, coming down directly in front of him like a furry escalator. A line of dog troops cascaded to the ground along the outside of the tree on a massive doggy slide. As soon as their paws hit the forest floor, they marched off in ranks where he had just escaped from. Just as Justin watched, a small group broke away, moving in his direction. There were 5 of them, one of which was an overly chubby dog with golden armor. They were doing something very odd for dogs. They were speaking. He realized too late that he should have hid as the group of dogs surrounded him with their arrows trained on him. Little did they know that they didn't need their weapons at all, as he didn't possess the strength to resist their chubby faces. He tried to further himself from Mike in case he was going to be taken captive, or worse. Although he didn't like Mike, he couldn't bring himself to let that happen. As the creatures approached, the chubbiest dog in the golden armor called out, "Human, what side are you on?" "Yours," Justin said. "You can speak English?" "What's English?" the chubby dog asked as he and his group lowered their weapons. "We predominantly speak human. Few of our kind still speak Simpish. Human is the most common language in our world." The dogs looked at each other with smiles as they walked over to Justin. Justin got down on his knees with his hands up. The dogs took this action as the start of a toss game. They sniffed and licked the boy's hands, looking around excitedly for an invisible stick. "What are you guys?" Justin asked as he was picked up off the ground by 2 of the dogs. "And where am I?" The dogs looked at each other before bursting into laughter with their puppy-like laughs. "We are Simps from the South Simperon Forest," spoke the chubbiest and fluffiest of the Simps in the golden armor. "You're on Simperon Island in the world of the in-between. But where are you from? You're different from the others. You smell really good. Foods I have never encountered." Before Justin could speak, the Simps raised their weapons at the cave. Mike had stumbled out of the cave with tear trails drying on his cheeks. He almost fell backwards at the sight of the Simps aiming weapons at him. His eyes widened to unheard of sizes as they advanced on him. "Who is that?" the chubby Simp asked Justin, pointing at Mike. "He smells like you do. Do you know him?" Justin jumped in front of Mike within an instant, his speed surprising everyone. With his hands up and pleading, this caused one of the dogs' heads to search for an absent stick. "He's Mike Prickle," Justin said. "And he means you no harm. Neither of us do. My name's Justin Smith, and we're from Gulf Shores, Alabama." "I thought you were lying," Mike stuttered to Justin. Does this mean?" Yeah, Justin said, it's all true. The chubbiest simp laughed. He walked up to both of the boys and yelled and smelled their necks before speaking. We knew he wasn't a warrior just by looking at his puffy hair. So you're Justin and he's Mike. Nice to sniff you. My name is Aaron Howard, son of the chieftain of Simperon Island and warrior of my tribe. These simps here are my personal guard, the Warriors, and we are on our way to warn the capital of an invasion. Are you talking about the demons on the beach? Justin asked, making the simps look mortified. I was close to it. There were explosions. Then the simps were fighting the demons, and they were doing great, but then this huge demon showed up. The simps shuddered nervously. What are those things? Justin asked. They are the Devma, Aaron said, causing the warriors to yelp. They have been our enemy since the Master. The death mesh fell from the sky thousands of years ago. We stand and fight them with your people, the Sons of the Light. Death mesh? Justin asked, looking at Mike, who returned it in kind. What's their problem with you? Aaron became very aggressive. We serve the light, and they the dark. Their king wants to rip their world apart. How are you unaware of this? The boys looked dumbfounded at each other. We just got here. You're other-siders? Aaron questioned with wonder in his eyes. But how could that be? There hasn't been any in over 100 years. Aaron motioned with his tail, and the warriors took guard positions around the small wooded area. He took a seat on an old overturned tree. Well, since you don't know, I will tell you as quickly as I can the story of the in-between. Aaron began with a smile across his face. The Simp Chief's son told them the history of their origins, the other creatures of the world, the Devma, and the leader of the Devma, the evil Deathmesh. He also told them about the great angels the light sent to fight it in the angel wars, and the even greater holy knights that were finally able to defeat it. Mike nodded along with the story, completely enthralled, giving oohs and ahs when appropriate, like a simpling, hearing these tales for the first time. But Aaron was far more interested in something to Mike's left. The teen looked in the direction of Aaron's curious gaze to find Justin asleep on the ground. Responding clumsily to Mike's impatient kicks, Justin sprang up like he hadn't slept at all. Aaron nodded at his warriors. We are heading to the capital of Simperon in the middle of the main forest quite far off to the west of here. You are free to come with us as my personal guest, or... Aaron looked off toward the direction of the battle with a sad face. You can take your chances here, but I would prefer that you come with us. If for nothing else, we can learn more about this Gulf Shores you're from. The boys responded simultaneously with, We're going with you.